Okay. So can you confirm you can also see my screen, please?
Yeah, we do.
Okay. I can see some questions and requests. Okay, thank you all. Thank you for joining this session. This class that we are going to have is on Excel and Power BI Masterclass. So basically, we are going to learn the tools and the skills needed to become a data analyst. And in today's webinar, we are going to be talking about report automation with Excel, and we are going to be creating a dashboard basically in an hour. So the whole of the session should not last more than 2 hours or less. Okay, a brief introduction about myself is I'm a data analyst, so I work with data, and I also train professionals. I train people without background, I train people with background, so I've trained people from different areas of industry. And I'm also trying to get into the cloud technology. So I have certification in AWS and as a Microsoft certified data analyst. And I'm also a Microsoft certified trainer. So what that basically means is that it's beyond the fact that I have been able to have some level of proficiency with the tools, but Microsoft is saying, okay, you are one of us, we can let you train some of our technologies that we have. So, and I facilitate training for a number of organizations which are listed here, the Knowledge Academy and W3 Academy. Okay, so I want to know a brief about us too, if you are joining us. So basically, I want us to go to this website, polev.com. You can visit the website on your phone or on your computer. So when you get to this website, then you are going to see some questions. And please, let's try and get to this website. If you are having challenges accessing the website, let me know. And also, you can also use
hello, please, can you repeat the website?
We can basically see it on our screen, polev.com/afizgmon614. So polev.com. Okay. Are you saying you can only see Excel spreadsheets?
Yeah, it's only the spreadsheet that is on the screen.
What about now?
Not yet. Yeah, that's good.
Okay, thank you. So we also have the website in the chat section. Okay, I believe some of us are accessing the website already. Okay, we have someone joining us from Lagos, Canada, Toronto, Sydney. Guys, respond to the question. I can also only see 4 responses at the moment. Okay. So it seems we have a lot of people from Lagos. Okay. Nice. Lagos people. Seems we have a lot of people from Lagos. Okay. Lagos again. Malaysia. Okay. Which city in Malaysia? Okay. Interesting. Lagos. I think Lagos is taking the lead. Which city? Okay. Benin City, okay. KL, which city is KL? Okay, Port Harcourt, interesting. Okay, interesting. We have Abuja. I can see it from the chat. Oshogbo, Yaba. Okay. Even though some people they are going to argue that Yaba is not a city anyway, but we leave that. Nigeria is a country. Malaysia, okay. Thank you. Let's go to the next question, please. So what data analytics tool do you know how to use? What's Excel? Okay. None. Okay. Bit. I'm not sure what bit is. BIT. Okay. Excel seems someone have used Excel. Okay, we have Excel, Power BI, PostgreSQL. Okay, interesting. Please, I can see someone raising a hand. Please, you can use the chat. I will respond. Roy Anna, please, you can use the chat. It seems you have something for us to say. Okay, upcoming. Okay, SQL Server, Power BI, MS Excel, PostgreSQL. Okay, that's okay for now. Let's go to the next question. Do you know how to use pivot table in Excel? So this question is actually for those of us that actually said they know how to use Excel. Okay, someone is asking what is pivot table. I've heard about it. To some extent, Clement, I can see your response. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you. Okay, someone is saying C, Carol, or what? She's comfortable using pivot table. Excellent. I'm finding a pivot table expert. Anybody? To some extent. Okay, we have maybe some pivot table experts. Interesting. Let me know you. The pivot table expert is anonymous response. Okay. Okay, I can see all your responses, guys. Mubarak, Oladimeji, Motun, Akim Busari, everybody that have responded in the chat, thank you. If you are using the poll, the online poll, thank you, thank you. So thank you. I think I have some information about us already. And we can continue with our presentation now. As some guys are still trying to, I think some people are still trying to respond, but we have to move on. Okay, we have more people that said not more people, a lot of people are saying what is pivot table? A lot of people are saying that in the chat. And okay. So there is still a very fierce competition between people that are asking what is pivot table and people that are saying they've heard about it. Okay, they are competing with each other. Okay, so basically this session we are going to have is on Excel. And just for a brief introduction, Excel is part of Office packages. So the Office packages that you are going to be having on your computer is going to be either any version of Microsoft Office, which can be any of the one that we have here, or Microsoft 365. So a lot of people might have a personal installation on their laptop, and it's going to be either of these versions that we have. Basically, they are released every 3 years. So once you buy that installation, you can use it for 3 years, you get another upgrade. But we have another version of Office, which is Office 365, which resides in the cloud, and you can also have an installation. So if you are using an organization laptop and they've given you a laptop, they have some software installed already, most likely you are going to be using Office 365. So I actually recommend for people, I'm not advertising for Microsoft anyway, but there are a lot of features in Office 365, in our Excel, in Office 365, which we are going to enjoy. But in this class we are going to be having together, whether you are the old school guys or the new school guys, we are all going to be on the same page. We are not going to be doing anything different from any other person. Okay, so the big question is why Excel, why Excel, why Excel? I'm not going to be answering the question directly. I'm just going to show us what some people are saying about Excel. What are they saying about Excel? So this is just some Twitter responses. Some people are saying Excel is the most underrated tool in modern history. Learning something new in Excel is like, okay, somebody is saying Excel is highly underrated. So these guys are giving their comments from different parts of the world about what Excel is, because basically I think a lot of people will have started using Excel for a long period of time, some people 10 years, 12 years, and you can either fall in one category or the other. It's either Excel is using you or you are using Excel. A lot of times, especially if you are using it professionally, you see people trying to do something and something they can spend 1 minute on, they are using 30 minutes, 1 hour doing it. In that sense, I'm going to say that Excel is using you. But if you're able to operate or find whatever you need to do in Excel without any problem, then in that case, you are using Excel. So, it looks very simple. It's a very simple tool to use, but it has a lot of features that it is like a rabbit hole, basically. So, guys, I'm not trying to. So, guys, please, you can always respond to me. You can always beg your pardon. You can always put your questions in the chat. I'm going to take note of them. So, and these are what some other people are saying about Excel. So, a lot of people are saying it's underrated. So this guy said he just finished 2 weeks basic course in Excel and he felt like it's something else. And that's about Excel. So basically, when we are using Excel, whether you're an engineer, you're an accountant, you're a researcher, whatever you are doing, most likely you are going to have used Excel one time or the other in your life. So someone is telling me he's an average user in Excel. Okay, I can see you. So you have used Excel one time or the other in your life. So, but we should be able to use Excel professionally. And by chance, it turns out that Excel is that tool that, I've basically not seen any data analyst. Most data analysts just know how to use Excel. You just don't have a choice, because most of the time your data is going to be even be stored in an Excel file. So most of the time you are going to need to manipulate your data. And that tool that comes handy is Excel. There are a lot of misconceptions about Excel. Some people say it's limited to something. Some people say different kind of stuff. But the basic fact is that it's not because maybe we don't know how to use Excel. So again, you can always respond to me in the chat. You can unmute yourself to ask a question if you see it very urgent. If we see it very urgent, so you can unmute yourself to ask a question. And I'm going to be responding to a larger part of the questions at the end of my class, a larger part. But anyone that deserves immediate response, I'm going to be responding to them. So basically, when you create reports in Excel, you have a manager or you own a supermarket, you work in a bank, and you have maybe large set of data, 10,000 rows, 500,000 rows, 1 million rows, more than that. There are only 4 basic ways you can generate your reports in Excel. So one of them is the formula approach. The formula approach, which means that you are going to be typing some formula equals to this. Okay, if you're an amateur in using Excel, you are welcome to this class. I'm going to unravel some things to you, and we are going to gradually start moving away from being an amateur. Okay, so about formula approach, that's that about formula. You are going to be typing some formula in Excel cell, and it's going to be responding to you what you have asked it to do. We have a tool in Excel, which is pivot table, which you can also use to what? Generate, which you can also use to generate reports, which is pivot table. We also have an hidden tool, which people don't know about it, is Power Pivot. It's Power Pivot in Excel. And some people can decide to write code, which is what? Using VBA. In this section today, we are going to be working on pivot table, and we are going to be building a dynamic dashboard together. So I'm going to send if you are with me on your computer and you want to follow along, I'm going to send a file to us in the Zoom chat for you to download the data, the sample file, the exercise file I'm going to work with, which means that you can basically follow along with me as I'm doing it. Okay, just hold on for me. Let me send the data to us. We are going to see it in about a minute. Once again, we can always make use of we can unmute our mic to ask questions, and you can make use of the Zoom chat.
Okay, hello, sorry, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Please, can you send it on WhatsApp instead?
Okay.
So we can access it easily. Thank you.
We have it in the Zoom chat. You are going to get it in the WhatsApp about now. Let me know if you have it already. Let me know if you're able to get it, please. Okay, we have it. Nothing's here yet. You can check the. Okay. Some people are saying receive, so I can see a receive in the. I can see someone saying received in the what's it called? In the WhatsApp and the Zoom chat. So I assume we all have it. And we start working. So you can open the data set so that we see what we have to work on. Okay, thank you, received. Thanks for the feedback. So I believe you can see my screen, an Excel sheet. Kayode, you are raising your hand. Can you let me know what issue you have? Kayode. Okay, no response from Kayode, then I move on. So this is our Excel sheet, basically. And in this Excel sheet, we have So this Excel sheet that we have, we can see we have some data. We also have another data like this. We also have another one like this. So in this data now that we have, what your task now is that this data, it belongs to a supermarket shop owner. The person, the owner of the supermarket, he or she has shops all over, almost all in the state of Nigeria. So we have shops almost everywhere. Please, can you unmute yourself? So we are, the owner of the supermarket has shop all over, but this person wants to generate insights from the data he has, and he doesn't know how to go about it. He has come to meet you as a data analyst that, okay, can you help me? I have this data. It is my sales data for year 2015 and 2016, but I want to understand it. I want to see performance. That is, he doesn't even know a lot of things about what he wants, but he just knows that he wants to see performance. So your job as an analyst is to ask for his data. Okay, can you send your data that you have to me so that I can work on it? Okay, let me identify someone with unmuted mic. So we have this data already. There's someone else. Okay. So we have this data. So the owner of the supermarket, when you ask him or her that, okay, send your data to me. He has sent you this data that, okay, this is what I have. He's saying this is what he has. And he also has this, he has this. And he wants you to come up with a dashboard, a screen that he can see. Once he looks at that screen, he's going to see a summary of everything happening in the supermarket. And that is what we want to do. We want to help him build something, a screen he can see. Once he looks at that screen like this, he's just going to be able to generate key insight and say that, oh, this line of business is what is doing well. I'm making more sales. This manager is doing well, because we can see we have regional manager here. And we have state managers. We have some state, the names of their managers. We have everything like this. So your job as an analyst is to look at this data and first of all ask yourself, okay, is this data enough to answer the questions this owner of the supermarket is going to need answers to? So basically, yesterday, if you can remember very well in the chat, I mentioned to us that our questions you are going to be asking as an analyst is going to be in 5 categories. It can be a what, a where, a who, a why, and which other one? When. So when you want to answer questions about when, it means that you want to know whether, okay, in January, February, when did this happen? When you want to answer questions about sales, you are likely going to be saying that, okay, what is the revenue generated by so? You understand? By by so manager now. That manager is a person, which is a who. So you can see now that we need to be able to come up with something that is going to answer those questions. It must be able to answer those questions for us. And by doing that now, we are going to be what? We are going to be able to satisfy the need of the supermarket store owner. Do you get what I'm trying to say, guys? Ladies and gentlemen? Are we together?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Please. Thank you. So we want to seek answers to those questions. But if you're an previous Excel user, we can see what has happened now is that he has this single sales data, and we can see now we have region, we have state, we have store, we have trade dates, fiscal period, model, line of business, day category, revenue, unit sold, and we have targets. So it seems that for each shopping unit, there's a target, like a target of sales they are meant to meet, and we have it here. So our task is to generate insights for this supermarket store owner. How are we going to go about it? First of all, we can see that we have one data like this, we have another one like this. Our first job is to, first of all, consolidate these 3 data sets into one, which means that I want to have something like this. You can see regional manager now. This is not central. Okay, let me do something. So this is regional manager now, not central. The regional manager is Abubakar Shuaib. So, and we can see that our row 2 here, we have what? Not central, which means that I want to have Abubakar Shuaib here. And in our Federal Capital Territory, the state manager is what? Muhammad Musa Bello, which is also state here, which means that I need to have something like that here. So how am I going to do it? Do we have suggestions from any audience on how to make sure that in this column now, I'm going to have regional manager, and in the next column, I'm going to have state manager. Do we have suggestion from any member of the class on how to go about that? Any suggestion, please?
You can use
I
VLOOKUP.
think we can change the rows to columns.
Okay, Rihanna, thank you for that. Someone said VLOOKUP. Who is the person? Is that David?
You can use VLOOKUP. Just do for the region. Just look at the table for the sales where we have the region. Then use it as ID to locate the regional manager where we have the name of all those regional manager. Okay. So for the state, use the state as ID.
Yeah, I got that. Gabriel, I also have another suggestion from Gabriel. He says you can use filter and then type straight or use formula. So the formula approach is
we can use the if function.
We can use the if function, if else if. Excellent, excellent. Any other suggestion? Any other suggestion? Okay. Everything we have said is.
Yeah, we can write and just write down.
Yeah, basically, anytime you are using Excel and you are doing a manual labor, we should know that it is not the efficient way to work. So if I scroll down like this, you can see that I have 30,800 rows. So it's not going to be efficient to type. So we already know that typing is out of the way. But I'm going to be using a somehow different approach, which has some advantages we are going to see towards the end of the class. So you really need to stay to the end to see the advantage. First of all, this data now, A to K, I've selected all of them. I'm going to convert it to a table by pressing Ctrl T. Or instead of using Ctrl T, I'm going to come to insert and I'm going to click on table. My table has headers, okay. And after I've converted this data to a table, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to give my table a name. So let me just call it sales data. Let's call it sales table. Okay. And this one for region, I'm also going to do the same. Ctrl T. It has headers. I'm going to give it a name. I'm going to come on that under table design, and I'm going to under table design. Hold on for me. We are going to see table design for the sake of those people following us. Under table design, after converting to table, you are going to see table name. And under table name, we are going to see region. So you give the table, you call it region. And I do the same step for the state table. I do Control C again, okay, and I call it region. So I've converted. So, oh, sorry, it should be state table. So this is state table. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take these three guys into Power Query. So Power Query is a feature that comes with a lot of Excel from 2013. So if you are using 2013 till date, you are going to have Power Query. Okay. So you are going to have Power Query, and I have my data already. So what I'm going to do next is under data now, I've converted my data to a table, guys, remember, by pressing Ctrl T, and I give it a name. And after doing that, I'm going to come to data. We can see our data tab over here. And under the data tab, we can see from table. So everything we have under this place is what we call Power Query. And what am I going to do? I'm going to say that, okay, from table, orange. So we are not really doing any special thing in Power Query, except that we are going to see what we want to do. So we have our sales table now. So this is a tool outside Excel. I believe you can see my Power Query screen. Can we?
From the beginning.
Yes, you can.
No, I can't see anything.
Are you sure? Okay, let
I
me
can't
stop sharing.
I can't see anything.
I will stop
Can
sharing.
you please take us back to how the table was created? Because I couldn't see when you were doing that. I tried to put it on the chat that you should please recap.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I have my sales. I just want to reshare my screen. I got your feedback.
That's been sharing. I can't see anything. Can
you see now?
Yes.
Can we all see now, please?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
thank
we
you.
can.
So what again?
We can see, sir.
Thank you. Again, this is my data. I make sure I'm anywhere on the data, and I'm going to press Ctrl T. Once I press Ctrl T, it is going to let me just go back and quickly recap. Please, ladies and gentlemen, pay attention. I may not recap again. Ctrl T. Where is the data for your table? Is over here. Okay. It has converted it to a table, and I give my table a name. I'm going to call it sales table. And over here, I'm going to come to the region data now. Just 6 by 6 data that I have here. And I'm going to press Ctrl T again. Okay. And I'm going to give it a name. I call it region table. And I'm going to do the same now. Another Ctrl T. Okay. And I give it a name, which is called state table now. So after it has been converted to a table now, the next thing is to take my table into a feature, a tool in Excel called Power Query. And I want to take this sales table first. I'm just going to make sure I'm anywhere on that sales table. And we can see data now. And what I'm going to do is look up, guys, look up. We are going to have something like from table orange on our computer. And I just basically click on from table orange, and it takes my sales table into what? Into Power Query automatically. So it's going to open a new window for us. So we can see now that I have my what? My sales table. So can you see a new screen, guys, please?
Yes, you can see any screen, but it's faintly.
You can see it.
Yes, thank you. So now we have done this. Now we want to bring in other tables. So basically, I just come to the top left corner. We are going to see close and load, and we click on close and load to. I'm not actually loading it back. I'm just going to make sure I click on only create connection. I click on only create connection. So I've created a connection to this table now. So I want to create connection to, I want to add this table orange and create a connection for this region table also. How do I do it? I come to data from table orange. It opens a new screen for us. And we can now see that we have our region table now. Can you guys see it? So I'm going to go over again and only create a connection for it and load my state table also. So for this data now, I don't even need to select it from table orange. So we can now see now that I have what? I have my state table. Okay, so I have everything like this. So what I just need to do is from this sales table now, remember we want to consolidate these three tables. We have some suggestions already, which is pivot table, which is VLOOKUP, if else, but they have some disadvantages and very not efficient. And that is why I'm using this approach. So basically now, what I want to do is I can also create a connection with this third guy. After I've created the connection, can we now see that I have in my Excel screen, you can see now that I have my three tables, which is sales table, region table, and state table. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to right click on one of it, and I'm going to see merge. I'm going to merge. And you can see sales table, and I'm going to click on region table. So, in this case now, we have sales table and we have all the columns. We have region table, we have its column. So what I'm going to do is I want to merge based on what? I want to merge based on region and region. So anywhere that region, we are going to have a replacement with another column with what? Regional manager. So it's telling me I'm going to use a left outer merge, and the selection matches this. Click on OK. It takes me back to Power Query. So we can now see that in our Power Query, we have a fourth guy now called merge one or merge or whatever way you pronounce it. And we can see that we have a fourth column now, a last column called region table. It has something like open, close icon. Guys, look up, please. And we have something like this over here. Okay, Zainab, I can see your comment. It's just to expose us. The video is going to be recorded. It may be a bit difficult for us to, within the period of time we have, to be able to always go back and go back. But just try and follow along. I'm going to send the link and we are going to be able to re-implement what we have done. Okay. So I'm going to do like this and select all columns. I just want to have my regional manager again. And in a second, I'm going to see that I'm going to quickly see that I have what? My regional manager already fixed for me. Region table, regional manager. If I scroll down now, I can see that it's already filled. So I want to repeat the same process for what? For the sales table. How do I do that? I click on merge queries again. And I'm going to select my sales table, my state table, I mean. This time around, I want to merge based on states. And what do I do next? State. And I click on OK. I expand the table, uncheck, and I only need my state manager column. So it has been able to merge these three columns, these three tables together as one table. And we have all the features in the other two tables in one single table now. So I have my regional manager and my state manager, and I'm going to close and load. So in this case now, it's asking me that for your merge, for the merge data now, where do you want to take it to? I want to take it to a new worksheet. I want to take it to a new worksheet. So we are back in Excel, our favorite Excel. So we can see now that without VLOOKUP, we have all our regional manager here and our state manager here. And everything looks fine. So the next task we have is that we have our consolidated data now. We now want to use pivot table to quickly come up with summary. But remember, our supermarket store owner, what he wants is that what? He wants to have a screen where he's going to have visuals that is going to communicate what is happening in his different stores to him. So what are we going to do now? We actually need to know where we are going, which is that I want a dashboard that has different visuals. A visual telling me that, okay, this is the manager performing best. This is the region performing best. This product is what is selling fastest. This is what we have been able to achieve in this period of year. This is how much we made in this quarter. So how do we do that now without writing formulas? Without writing formulas, how do we do that? Is our next question. So we have our data here. I can decide to rename it. This table now, we can see it's already a table. I can call it sales merged or merged. I would merged sales table. So basically, to create a pivot table, if we are together and you are at where I am, or even if you are not where I am, you can still make use of this data that I have, this previous guy that is unconsolidated for your pivot table. But if you are together here, we can also still make use of this guy. I'm going to be making use of this because it has regional manager and state manager already. So what I do next is what? I come to insert. I basically come to insert. And I click on, I'm somewhere on my data. So I click on pivot table. Are we still together? Yes, okay. Hello. Okay, thank you, Idris. So what I basically do is what? I'm going to click on pivot table, and I'm going to see that from table orange, and you can see the name of my table now. I want to create it in a new worksheet. So I have my pivot table now. So I want to create sets of pivot tables. That is the task now. We have region, state, store, and different columns. Can you see now that at my right-hand side, guys, look up please, ladies and gentlemen. At my right-hand side here, we have region, state, store, trade date, fiscal period, model, line of business, and the rest. All right. Which are basically the column names I have over here. Can you see region, state, store, trade dates? Region, state, store, trade dates. They are the column headers I have. So what pivot table allows me to do in Excel is that it's just allowing me to just drag and drop. But how do we drag and drop? The way it works is that it has filters, columns, rows, and values. We are going to be dragging and dropping over here. Look up, guys. I want to be dragging here and dropping here. These 4 places. So which means that if I want my region to be in a row, I'm going to just bring region from my field there and just drop under rows. The moment I dropped it under rows, can you see that I have it appearing over here already? Are we together, guys? We together? Okay, thank you. So I have my regions now. So after doing that, I'm going to bring in my what? Revenue to values. And within a second or less, we are going to see that it has been able to do what for us? It has been able to sum the revenue for North Central, for Northeast, Northwest, Southeast, South-South, and Southwest for us. So we have an aggregated data now. From this point, I can decide to do what? I can decide to plot a chart if I want. I can decide to do a whole lot of things if I want. Are we guys together? You can still unmute yourself if you want to respond to me. Are we guys together?
Yes, we are together.
Yes.
Thank you,
Yes.
thank you, thank you, thank you. So I have my North Central sum of revenue like this now. So what I'm going to do next is that I actually want to be able to see this. Remember, we want to make our reports to be dynamic. So if I want it to be dynamic, which means that I want to have something like a slicer. That slicer is going to be like a filter. So in that filter, I'm going to tell you that, okay, if I want to see the sales made in 2014 alone, I'm going to see it. If I want to see 2015 alone, I'm going to see it. If I want to see sales made in January alone, I also want to be able to see it for this particular region. Do you guys get what I want to do now? I want to have something like a button. That button, one is going to be 2014, another is going to be 2015. If I click on 2014 button, it is going to filter and give me some of revenue made by these regions that we have currently for the year 2014. If I do it for 2015 also, it's going to do the same thing for me. Do you guys get that?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So to do that, how do I do that? To do that, I am going to come over to my pivot table fields again, and I'm going to look at, okay, what do I want? Remember, I don't have my year as a column at the moment. I don't have month as a column at the moment. I don't have a quarter as a column at the moment. So the big question is, am I going to, what's it called? To write formula to generate months, quarters, and year for me, for my trade dates. You know, when you have a date, you can always generate year, month, quarter, week, whatever you need. That is a date category. You can always generate it. So the trick I'm going to use to generate it without formula is I'm going to pretend as if I want to create another what? Another pivot table, insert pivot table. From table arrange, I'm going to put my, let me just quickly check the name of my table. So the name of my table is merged sales. Let me just confirm. Merged sales table. Or I can just Control-C, just copy this guy and Control-V. That's another table. But in this new table, I don't need region. So which means that if I don't need region, what do I need? I want to delete region. I just take it up from here. Guys, look up, please, from region here. And I'm going to just throw it outside inside over here. And I have sum of revenue. I'm going to throw it out. So my pivot table wants me to create other fields. So I want to put my trade dates there in values, or this, in columns. So once I have it in, let me delete it and just repeat it. I put it in columns and it's appearing as number at the moment. I'm going to come to group. Let me just Control Z. Okay, let's go back to we can see that the problem comes from here. So which means to fix it, I need to go back to my Power Query and edit. It's just a little fix. We can see our date is appearing as a number, Let us open Power Query again to fix it. It's just a button that we have to click on. So under sales table over here, we can see that our type, the data type has been changed. So I just want to remove that particular step. And I change my data type to a date. Just hold on, it's trying to load. Okay, so we have our data type as date, and all these, we have our data type as date, region table, everything is fine, our mesh table, and we have our data type now. And we can also convert these guys to text if we want, but it's not compulsory. It's just an additional feature that we can learn from. So I just want to so I convert this guy and this guy and this guy. I convert it to an O number as a data type. So, and I can also select these guys together also. Fiscal period, model, line of business, day category. I convert it to what? Okay, let me select it again. I convert it to model, line of business, day category. I convert it to what's happening. So I can just do it one after the other. And I think that's all. I can quickly close and load and go back to what I'm doing. Close and load and go back to my Power Query, my pivot table sheet. So we can rename it to report sheet. And I want to see my feed list again, and I have it. And I just want to quickly, we can check it over here. We can see now that we have it as a date, not as a number now. So it has been fixed. We come to report sheets and we bring our trade dates to columns. Again, we need to refresh for it to know. So refresh all. Okay. And trade date. Okay. We have 2014 now. So when we click on 2014 and I come over to group, I right click on 2014. Can you see now that I have months, quarters, years? So I just want to see the categories by days also. And I'm going to add days. You can add hours if you have the data. So I stop at days. Can you see now? So if I want an analysis by days, I can have it. But you can see now that the moment I have this, I click on that group. Over here now, I now have months, quarters, years as additional what? As additional fields. So what I can do now at the moment is to just take them out. I don't need them. I don't need you. I don't need you. What I need you for is I want to what? Add a slicer. So I come to over years, look up guys. So I'll come to here and I right click. And I add a slicer. Can you see now that I have 2014 and 2015 at the moment as a slicer? So, which means that if I click on 2014 at the moment now, I have 2014 and 2015. I right click on it. I don't want to see this less than and greater than. I click on slicer settings. I hide items with no data. And I come to my slicer over here on my tab, report connections, and I connect it to my pivot table. After connecting to pivot table, now if I click on 2014, 2015, can we see now that our data is changing? Without writing new formula, we can see now that our data what is changing, right? Guys. Are we still together? Okay, thank you. So we can see now that our data is changing. So if I want to be able to, I can also do the same for months. If I want to do it for months, what do? I just come over here. I can see months here. I right click as slicer. I have January, February, March. I can bring it over here. And I click on January. So this is for February 2014 now. If I want to see March, I click on March, April, October, November, December. Do you guys understand what I'm doing? Ladies and gentlemen, are we still together?
Yes, we are.
Thank you. So, and that is, you can see the capability of what? Of pivot table at the moment now. So we can create as much pivot tables we want for what we want. So we can see now that this pivot table now is answering question about what? About where. It is telling us that, okay, in this region, that is when you have what? This so amount of what? Of sales.
Revenue.
Yes, of revenue that has been made. Yes. So we want it to change. That is why we are using pivots. We are using, beg your pardon. we are using slicer, so that once I click on it, it's going to give me. Okay, thank you for joining us, Mutun. The video is going to be sent to the WhatsApp. I understand you are in midnight over there. Thank you for joining, Mutun. Okay, so now we have our pivot table now. So let's just quickly create pivot tables. So we have answered the question about where for our what? North Central, Northeast, Northwest. We can also answer questions about some other things like what? When? Region. Yes, about where, when. So when is going to be something about this. You understand? So which means that if I want to see, I'm not interested in the region. I just want to see that, okay, in January, for my supermarket, this is the amount I made. So I come to my pivot table here. I'm just going to drag revenue. And I also want to compare it to the target sales. And I'm going to bring in my what? My month. Month, where are you? Month. I'm going to just drop it on that rows. You can see now that I have January to February. Let me just adjust so we can see it clearly. So we can see now, if I click on 2014, we can see now it's showing me sales made in 2014. Do you understand? If I click on 2015, you can see now for 2015, it's telling me that I only have data for what? January to what? To June. If I click on 2014, it's showing me what I have. So, but a number of times it might not show for us. What is the reason it may not show? I just want to quickly show us. It may not change for us. You really need to be connecting your slicers to what? To the pivot table, because sometimes we may not need a slicer to filter. For example, now, I don't want this month slicer to work on this, because if it works on it, it's going to only be showing me January over here. So I don't want that. So what I can do is that if it is not showing for you, I assume it may not show for some people. I'm going to be on my year slicer. I come to slicer on my toolbar. I come to reports connections, and we can see that I have pivot table names, pivot table 11 and 12. But we don't know which one is which means that the best practice is to what? To give your pivot table a name. So we just come to this pivot table, we come to pivot table analyze. Under pivot table name, I give it what? I'm going to call it region pivot table, PT. And this guy now, I'm going to call it what? It's like a trend. So I'm going to call it what? Trend pivot table. Do you understand? So when I have this now, I can decide to just do like this. This data that I have currently, I want to see the charts. What is the shortcut for getting charts in Excel? Anybody? Anybody?
Shift 11, Control Shift 11.
Control Shift
F11.
F11. Control Shift F11. I've actually not used that before. So the shortcut I always use is Alt F1. So once you click on Alt F1, it generates charts for you on the data. Alt F1. So I'm just going to do, I come to my data, just be anywhere on it and click on Alt F1. Alt F1 together. It creates a table for you by default instantly. So what we are going to do is that when you work with data, basically most of the time, you are going to be having 3 sheets. One sheet is going to be a sheet for your data, your raw data, your original data that you have. You can have another sheet that is going to have maybe your clean data, consolidated data, the data you have manipulated. And when you want to create your charts, your dashboard, you are going to have another entirely new sheet for it. So I'm going to create a new sheet and call it what? Dashboard. And inside this dashboard sheet, I can decide to do what? To copy whatever I have over here to it. We can see now that our chart is also changing depending on the what? On what we have selected in the slicer. So, but we have a lot of formats to do to change on it. But what we want to do first is we want to take it out, Control X. We want to take it to the dashboard sheet and bring it over here. You understand? We are still going to, so I'm just going to quickly make some formatting. I right click on this guy. The default chart you have every time is not always the best to use. You have to adjust and you hide value and feed buttons. You can see the buttons have been hidden. I don't need this guy. I come over here and what do? I hide my legend because I don't need legend. This guy, the width of the chart, of the column chart, I want to increase it a bit so that it makes it look nicer. So what do I do then? You can see now that I'm selecting the bar. I right click on the bar and I click on what? Format data points. It opens something over here for me. So what do I do next? I'm going to adjust. I'm going to reduce the distance between the bars. You can see as I'm reducing it, so it makes more sense like this. And what do I do next? This is total, is not communicating anything for me. So I can call it sales by or revenue by region. So we have this guy, we keep it for here for now. I don't need my grid line. I can remove it and I just uncheck grid lines. So we can see now that this chart looks better now. It looks better. I come back over here to my report sheet. I can take this month and year slicer away and bring it to my dashboard sheet. Control Z, and Control V. Okay. So I have 2014 and 2015 now. So if I click on 2014, we see that our chart changes. 2015, our chart changes. And that is exactly what I want. January, our chart changes. So this is exactly what I want. So it's important we arrange our chart very well because we are still going to have other ones. So we can see now that we are building our dashboard bit by bit. I come to report sheet again. For this pivot table now, I can do Control T on it. I mean, Alt F1. And it tries to look at, okay, what is the best chart I can use. But in this case, it's giving me column chart, a stacked column chart together, which is not the best chart to visualize this data. So what do I do? Guys, I have this chart already. You want to say something? We want to have a comment from someone.
Please continue.
Okay, thank you. So if I want to change this chart type, I make sure I click on Note All. Yes. So This is the chart. I come to design. I click on change chart type, and I want to use a line chart because we have a trend. We have a line chart is used to visualize time series data. So we can see now that we have this. I have some noise in this chart. I want to remove them. I just make sure I'm on that element. Once you are on that element, you right click and you hide all fill buttons on charts. So we can see now that it's looking more clean. And I want to have my chart to have a chart title. And this guy, I want to bring it up over here so that I create more space for my charts. Anytime you want to edit anything on the chart, what you just need to do is click on that element. Once it is highlighted, you can now edit. So this is revenue by what? By month. So there are still some adjustments I can do, but before that, let me just take my chart to where? To the dashboard. So we have it over here now. So what do I do next? We have it over here. Let me also note all again. Yes. Okay, so we have our chart appearing over here. So now we have answered the question about where. We have answered the question about what? About when. So if I click on 2014 now, 2014, we can see now that this 2014, okay, is working. 2015, is it changing or not? Okay, it's working, it's working. It's working. So, slicer settings. And hide items with no data. Okay, excellent. So can I continue, guys?
Yes, please.
Can I continue?
Yes, please.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
So I come back to my report sheet now. In my report sheet, I want to create additional what? Additional pivot tables. So I want to create additional pivot tables. To create additional pivot tables, there are two ways. You can just use the basic approach. You come to insert pivot table, you come to your data again, and you insert pivot table from table or range. You have the table name, but you want to use an existing worksheet. Which worksheet do I want to use? I want to make sure I want to use report sheets, and I want my pivot table to stay somewhere here. And I click on it. So it's asking me now, this new pivot table you have that you want to create. This new pivot table that I want to create, what do you want to show on it? So I look at my data set again. It's always good you come back to your data set. Okay, what can I be interested in? You can see now that we have different stores. We want to know the store that is the highest performing store and the low performing stores. Do you get what I'm trying to say now? We have store now, and I want to know which store is my top 5 store. And which store is my what? Bottom 5 store. So how do we achieve that in Excel with pivot table? It's very easy. What I need to do first is what? This is my pivot table. I bring in stores. You can see I bring in store as a row, and I bring in what? I bring in, where are you? What do I bring in? I want to see revenue made in each store. What do I add next? Anybody? Anybody? Hello? thank you. Thank you, Oluwatobi. I'm going to bring in revenue as values. Exactly. And I'm just going to drop it over here. But it doesn't, you can see now that we have a lot of rows. So it is not efficient to work with this. It is not efficient to work with this. So you can see now that, oh, your manager or the supermarket store owner is going to be tired once he's scrolling through and scrolling like this. So the person might be like, okay, why can't I add a slicer? And see that you remember this row labels is actually for store. I can change the name and say store. And I make sure I add the space in front of store to be able to accept it. And what do I do next? I add a slicer for what? For region. So that when I click on, look at this slicer now. If I now click on North Central, the beautiful thing that is going to happen is what? It filters it. You can see now that it's easy to what? To look, to check. So it's showing me that, okay, in North Central, these are the top we have in North Central region. These are the regions, these are the stores I have in Northeast region. These are the regions, the stores I have in Northwest region. But remember, this is not what the supermarket store owner is interested in. He's interested in knowing which are the top 5, the guys that are performing highest. So what do I do? It's very easy to do. Look up, guys, look up, look up. So what I do here is that I come to my stock. Can you see now that it has a drop down, something like you can use to filter it. I click on it and I come to value filters and I click on top 10 and I change this guy to what? Not necessarily. We want to, so we now change it to top 5. You can see now it is done for top 5. So we are seeing top 5. So I can change this header for sum of revenue and change it to what? Top 5 what? Revenue. So I can do the same thing for what? I just copy this. Okay, let me give it a name, the pivot table a name. I come to pivot table, analyze, and I change the name of my pivot table to what? Pivot table, top 5 revenue. And I Control C, Control V, and I want to do button 5. I change the name first, button 5. And what do I do next? I come over here, I come to value filters, I come to top 10, and I click on this guy. Can you see button over here? And click on OK. So now I have my top 5 revenue based on store. And we can see now that the moment I'm clicking on each of the slicers, it is what? It is changing. It is changing. But we want to make life easy for what? For the supermarket store owner. So we want it to be in a visual. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this region slicer and I'm going to bring it where? I'm going to bring it over here. Home. Where are you? Control Z. Okay. Control X. Control. And I bring it over here. Where is it hiding? Hold on for me. I'm just trying to go back to the previous step. Okay, I have region over here. So let me first of all create the chart for top 5 revenue. I click on Alt F1 and I have this guy. Remember, we need to edit it. So in this case now, I'm on the chart. I come to design change chart type, come to bar. I remove all these unnecessary guys. They are noise in my what? In my chart. And I change this guy to what? Top 5 revenue. So I edit my chart to make it look good. I can decide to remove the grid line also. And another thing I can do is, let me arrange this guy in I want to sort it from, how to call it? I want to highest to lowest. So sort from largest to smallest, largest to smallest. So it's going to be smallest to largest instead. So now we can see now that it's looking a little bit more clean. I adjust it again. I don't want you to stay here. Hide value feed buttons on charts. Okay. So this is top 5 revenue. I'm going to come back to edit all these x-axis later. So what do I want to do? I want to increase the space between this guy. I right click on it, format data series, and I come over here. This last guy, and I reduce the gap width. So it makes more sense like this. And I can now decide to do what? To copy this chart now and take it to where? My dashboard. So this is top 5 now. So we want to see the bottom 5. The supermarket store owner is interested in seeing bottom 5. We are basically going to repeat the same process again. Just this guy again, Alt F1. And we do almost the same thing again, but we don't want this chart type. We want a bar chart now, a bar chart, not column chart. Okay. And we remove and I can adjust the bar width now. So if I want to adjust the bar width, I click on the element, I come to my right-hand side, format data series, and I reduce the space between it. But there's something we need to take note of. Let me first of all copy it. Let me cut it out and take it to my dashboard. Because we have top 5 and bottom 5, you want to make life easy for whoever is using it to quickly see that there's a difference between these two charts. So which means that the best practice is to use what? A different color for bottom 5. Something that before you even know what is there, you already know that, okay, this guy and this guy are different. They are not brothers. So let me remove the grid line. So what you basically do to change color is I click on the chart element. I come over to my right-hand side and we have fill, and I change it to what? I change it to, which color should we use? Okay, bottom 5, and I adjust accordingly. So the last guy we need to take out is this region slicer. I basically need to cut you and bring you to my dashboard. So we only want to create one additional chart now. We want to be able to compare, because you can see now that we have where are you? In fact, we could actually have done it for this revenue by region. We should actually compare revenue and targets together. Isn't it important, guys?
It's quite important.
So I think it's going to be very important for our supermarket store owner to see whether so it's very important to see, to be able to compare. So how do you do that? You can basically come over here. It's very easy to do, to your report sheet. Remember, it was this guy. We just come to pivot table, analyze, we show our feed list again. And I just add targets to values. The moment I add it to values, I only need to recreate this. You can see now that it's added over here automatically. Guys, can you see that? Is somebody following me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, thank you very much. So can you see now that it's added automatically? Beg your pardon?
So my question could be, hello?
I'm listening.
In this case, are we not supposed to add a legend? Because
yeah,
now
we are
you
going
cannot
to add a legend.
Okay.
So we just add a legend. So we can see now that all the chart elements, which are like, thank you for that. That's Joseph, right?
Yeah.
Thank you. So I was about saying something. Chart elements are important to add in charts to make, remember, you are not creating visuals for yourself. So it's not really about beauty, it's about understanding and making life easy. It's not about beauty alone, it must have ergonomics. It's not aesthetic alone. So in that sense, what we need to always do is always ask yourself, how do I make whoever is reading this chart or this table to understand what is going on? And that is why legend is useful in some cases. In other cases, it's not useful. So I just need to adjust this guy and make it, I need to create more space for what I have. And we can see we have sum of revenue here. We already know that it is sum. So I can just come to my report sheet and just change this to revenue. But because revenue is an item under your feed list already, it won't accept. So it won't accept it. So what you can just do is to add a space in front of it so that it is accepted as an header. So this target, I come to my formula bar, I change it to target, I add a space, okay. And I come to my dashboard, we can see now that it's adjusted. The name has been corrected. Because we want to reduce information load. Okay. So what we need to do now is we have this, we can still adjust this. How do you adjust? You come to format data series. Or we can leave it like this. We can just list this like this. So we have compared revenue, we have top 5, we have this. So we need to just go back to this guy. So we have where, we have where, which is top 5 revenue by store. Let us make them understand by store. Remember, always make your user to understand what you are doing. By store. So it remains one thing, top 5 revenue. So we have where now, we have when, we have where, we have to where. So we can look at what. So we go back to our data and look at, okay, what, which is like which or which, we can call it what or which line of business is doing well, or what model what particular model is doing well. So let us just do for line of business. Or model, we can do either of them because they are not exactly the same thing. So let us come to our report sheet. We can just insert pivot table from table or range, existing worksheets. Then we go to the worksheet I want it to appear on. I want it to stay here. I want it to be here. And I click on OK. So now what I want to do is I want to have my model as rows to answer the what question. And I want to have revenue. So once I have this, I can quickly do what? Let us change this sum of revenue to revenue. Add the space. We don't want these row labels. We can just call it model. And what do we do next, guys? We do Alt. What's the shortcut? Anybody?
Alt F1. Alt F1.
Yeah, thank you. So I do Alt F1 on my data. And it's showing me a column chart. I don't want a column chart. I can always adjust. And I come to design, change chart type, bar, and over here. So the last thing is to clean up. Always remember to clean up. We don't want some things. Legend is not needed. We don't want this button for now. Hide. And we want to make it sorted so that it can easily be seen which one is the highest. You know, this one makes life difficult for you. We don't know the order of how they are performing. So smallest to largest, and the chart changes automatically. We have total here. We don't need to have total. We need to change it to what? LOB, line of business, or no, model, revenue by model, right? And you can see now that it's adjusted. We can decide to bring this guy now. We can remove the, okay, let's just check later. And we bring it to our dashboard. So one final thing is to adjust what? The space between the bars. You want the data you are showing to be more conspicuous than what is not the data, right? So I right click and I click on format data series and I adjust the gap width. Can you see that it's looking much more better, right? And over here, the grid line, it's not that it's not always good. Sometimes the grid line is good, sometimes it's not good. You just need to decide case by case. We can decide to edit grid line, or you can edit it or you remove completely. You can edit it by changing, but for now, let us remove completely. So we have this. One thing I can do to my dashboard is I don't want to see all these rows and columns of Excel, the cells. I don't want to see them. So I come to view and I just uncheck grid lines. I don't have it again. I don't want formula bar. There is nothing formula bar is doing here. So we are trying to make it have more aesthetic now. And what I can do now is I can just select the rows and column under this chart and change the color. I can decide to change the color and come to home. I've selected the cells and I change the color to something like this. It should be contrasting to, okay. So we have this. Are we guys still together?
Yes. Yes, they have.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So we can see now that these are the things we need to take notes. It's not just about just using the chart Excel shows you. Even if you are not going to take anything, what we need to know is that a lot of us, most work we do, we need to create charts. You are writing reports, you are writing projects, whatever capability you are using in Excel. Don't stop at what chart Excel is giving you. There is always a right chart for the right purpose. And I'm still going to be showing us as I'm going to discuss it in the WhatsApp lecture we are going to have. So when do you use a column chart? When do you use a bar chart? When do you use a line chart? When do you use a scatter plot? When do you use a pie chart? Should you even use it at all? So it's not about beauty. It's not about beauty. Oh, I'm just saying your message. Oxygen. Repeat the revenue and target. Do you still need it repeated? I think I went far away already. Is oxygen still here? Okay, basically what I did, oxygen, what I did, let me just show you, is this. Under my report sheet, remember what we did previously for this pivot table? We only had revenue. We didn't have target at all. So let me come to my feed list. I want to see my feed list. Let me just take target out again. This was what we had, right? Can you remember? We had this. But we were now looking at, but we have a column called target. We should be able to compare the actual sales made and the target given to the managers. So what do? We came to what? We now came over here. Let's just check our dashboard. We see now that we only had this. Can you see now that is only revenue that is over here now? So you don't need to recreate anything. Just come to the pivot table that is connected to the chart and do what? Add target to what? Under values. I just drop target. Can you see me dropping it? Once I drop it, it's there. It's showing as sum of targets. I don't want sum of targets. I don't want to see the name. For this case, let me just bring back my formula bar and I have targets. Space. Do you get that? So we can now go back to what? Our dashboard. And we can see now that target has been included. Do you get that? Do you get that? Are we still together? Oxygen. Oxygen, are we still together? So that is that about that. So we can see now that this, basically you should not have too much charts in a particular dashboard you have. You should just have, what's it called? Something that is going to be easy to see. So most of the time, your dashboard should be good. You're having 4 to 7 charts showing different kind of information. What I quickly want to do now is, can you observe that all these axes, the values, they are not easy to read over here. They are not actually easy to read. So I can format it. Accountants, for example, they can say, or even a lot of reports will say, maybe 1 unit represents 1 billion. So when you have 1, it shows 1 billion or 1 million, something like that. So we have a way we can also do it in Excel. And I'm going to do it from what I have here. So let us just do it one after the other for all the pivot table I have over here. Are we good to go, guys? Ladies and gentlemen, are we good to go?
Yes, we
Yes,
are.
we are.
Together.
So what I just did,
Together, please.
I select the particular field I want to format. It's called formatting. And after doing that, I'm going to send, what's the best way to discuss it with you? Okay, let me just come over here. I've selected this particular guy, this element I want to edit. I right click on it. Can you see the moment I right click on it? I can actually right click on it. It has shown me format axis. If it is not showing for you, what you need to do is just click on format axis. It is going to show. So in this case now, what I want to format is the what? Is the number that we have over here. You understand? Can you see that we have labels, we have tick marks, we have a lot of things over here. So the format code is that it is using currently is what? General. So I can edit format code that is over here, or I can even come to custom. Can you see that we have accounting, we have number. If I use number, it can change it to decimal places and things like that. But in this case, what I just want to use is custom. And it's showing me some numbers. I'm sorry. I just typed some code. I don't know. It is going to, I can just send it to you in the chat and explain to you in WhatsApp on how to do this. And billion, let me check, add. Let me just go over it again. Format axis. Yeah, I can see you now. Guys, look up. This is it. I click on the axis, I right click, format axis, and display units. Instead of doing the difficult approach, display units, I can change it to billions. Can you see now? I have display unit as what? Billion. And I can just leave this guy as number. I don't want any decimal place. So now, can you see now that I have revenue by what? Regions now. So I already know that this guy is in what? In billions. I can repeat it if you want. Should I repeat the step?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm going to repeat it for
Yes,
another
sir. Please
chart.
repeat that.
For another chart. Is that okay?
Yes.
So for this chart now, revenue by month, and on that axis, I have to select that axis first. Can you see that there is a box surrounding it? I right click. I click on format axis. It is going to show me format axis in my right hand side. And over here, look up, you are going to see display units. Can you see display units?
Yes.
And I'm going to change it to the respective unit. We can see now this one is 10 raised to power 9. So 9 zeros is a billion, I think. 6 zero is a million. So we have it like this now, which make sense. For this particular case, we can add a grid line. I think I removed it earlier. So do you get how it is done now? But we can see now that we can still adjust this to create more space for our data. So what I just need to do is this. Let me just increase, because we have some white space that are wasting. You always need to make sure there is enough space for your data based on the available space. So I just shift it to the left. Shift this guy to the what? To the left, and shift this guy to the right. More space. Sum of revenue, I come back to the attaching. We have sum of revenue here. Let's just change it to revenue. Space, target, space. You guys get that? And I come back to my target. So we are only making life easy, decreasing the information load on the eventual user. So now we can now repeat the same process for all the charts that we have. Are we together, guys?
Yes.
So that is just that about that. We can also add some other elements which I didn't discuss to this chart. We can have some shapes over here that is going to show, like over here, we put some numbers, put some numbers, put some numbers, put some numbers. Those numbers may be coming from your pivot table, so that when you click on these buttons, our dashboard changes automatically. You understand? So we can still do that. Those are the additional things we can still add. And another thing we can still add is I can insert a shape. This is not Excel. I mean, not really Excel, it's just, and give your, and we just draw a shape. In this shape I've drawn, I can decide to give it a, I just want to make whoever is checking this to understand what is going on. Shape field. And I can type something, maybe what's the name of the supermarket? Which name should we use? Anybody? Name suggestion, no? The name of the supermarket. I think the network got broken. I think it's trying to reconnect. Share spot. What exactly is not going?